Good afternoon. It's great to see many customers, partners and salespeople join this webinar. And I hope I'm going to be able to give you a good overview of what our new PixSell release, PixSell 3, will be able to do for your businesses and your roles. So the webinar is going to take around 30 minutes. I'm going to be doing a bit of a presentation, but most of it is going to be focused around an actual PixSell demo of new features. That means I've got to switch between my laptop and my iPad, which adds a additional bit of fun to the whole presentation. But I've tested it a few times and it seems to work fine. So hopefully it will for this live bit. So I'll start off by saying that PixSell is a completely new app written from the ground up. So unlike other PixSell updates that some of you may have seen over time, those have really just been small updates to what we've been doing to the core app, whereas PixSell 3 is a complete rewrite. But importantly, we've made it very much as a relatively straightforward upgrade for all our customers. So before I start the presentation, just some quick housekeeping. So as I said, around 30 minutes. We're going to be doing a Q&A at the end. So I've got Chris Burston, who is the PixSell project's lead, and Greg Hepworth, who is the head of product development, who between them and myself will be able to hopefully answer any questions that come in. So I guess you've all attended various webinars over the past six plus months. So you'll know that you can ask questions via the question option in the Zoom app. So please ask questions as we're going along, and then at the end we'll answer those. What else? Yeah, so we'll be videoing the presentation, and Andy, our head of digital, will then be sharing that with all the registrations and attendees, also with a sort of an update of all the questions and answers. So hopefully, but with those two things, you should have everything you need to share any information about the PixSell upgrade with your teams at head office. So I'm now going to move off into the presentation. So I'll be on my iPad now. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking into my laptop at the moment, whereas my iPad is actually in front of me. So I'm just going to share the screen now. Okay, just let everything catch up. Okay, so PixSell 3. So as I said a few moments ago, PixSell 3 is an upgrade for all our existing customers. It's something we've been working on for some years. And for those who've been attending workshops over the last couple of years, unfortunately it wasn't this summer, but certainly the previous two, we were presenting and discussing about what we had in store with PixSell 3. So now it is a reality, and we've got a good number of customers actually using the app now, and we've got a team of 3 people who are focused on our side of really helping all our customers get over the line and get using PixSell 3. So you can download the app from the App Store. There's a demo version there. So if you type in PixSell 3, either on your iPad or iPhone, you'll be able to download a demo version of PixSell. I know some of the people attending this webinar are already on PixSell 3, so I guess from your perspective, you just want to learn some other functionality and features which you might not have got to grips with during your update process. So at this stage, we're looking at a PixSell 2 screen. So I've got a comparison so you can just see how the app has actually developed. So this is PixSell 2 and this is PixSell 3. So we've very much kept it in line so there isn't a big training learning curve for your sales teams. But we've made the app more elegant, more streamlined, more intuitive, and it will work on an iPhone. And users basically can use both an iPhone and an iPad at the same time. Which I know many of the people who have already upgraded have found that a great advantage. So a quick bit of background. So why did we choose to rewrite PixSell and not just continue to develop the existing version? Well, firstly, we wanted to modernize the user experience and really ensure that we could kind of clear away the baggage of the last sort of 8 years of development and start afresh on a clean slate. And that means we can very much deliver enhanced features and functionality. And there were certain things with the PixSell 2, or PixSell 1/2, which were never going to be possible due to the way that app was developed. So PixSell 3 means that we've really just cleared the ground to really carry on developing PixSell and take advantage of the latest functionality and iPhone technology. Right, so I'm now going to actually show the presentation. So if I just click off this and we'll go into PixSell. So what I'm going to be showing you today is the demo in the App Store. So everything that I go through is something that you can download to your own devices and actually have a look. So this is PixSell. First of all, you can see that the presentation screen is now full screen as opposed to having the menu down the left-hand side. That is an option you can have enabled, but most people have found that having a full presentation screen really allows your brand and products to shine rather than have sort of a menu down the left-hand side. So the menu is hidden by default, and clicking on the sort of hamburger menu in the top left brings the menu up. And the new menu is far more standard than the menu in PixSell 2, because as it isn't part of the as it isn't part of the presentation, we've really kept it clean and functional, and your brand is really shown in this element here. Down the bottom, you have the multi-company mode, and in the new version of PixSell, there will always be a demo version of PixSell within your sort of app setup. So if a user phones our support team or needs any help, we can both reference our core demo version and your own specific branding and product information, etc. So going on from here, if we go into the customer menu, so if I click on customers, the customer menu, again, it's full screen. It's cleaner, more slick, and we've really taken away a lot of the branding which PixSell had itself, and very much sort of stripped that away to make PixSell very function, have a nice clean user interface. And that also means it works very well when you move it onto the iPhone version as well. Now, if I just take a step there as well, so there isn't actually an iPhone version. So part of the upgrade in PixSell 3 is it's a responsive app, which means that basically PixSell, whether on an iPhone, an iPad, or any other form factors that come out, is the same thing. It just responds to the form factor or screen resolution of the device. Unfortunately, that isn't something I can show you during this presentation, because basically when you try and run dual screens and adapt the screen size in Zoom, it crashes. But I've got a slide which I can show you that a little later on. So the customer menu now has this sort of tray beneath, and in the tray is where you can actually process an order from this point. So before you had to go back to the menu. You're also able to add photographs against the customer. So here's some examples here. Another significant feature, which many people have been asking for a long time, is actually having more interesting pins. So at the moment on here, we can see I've looked at my nearest 10 customers, but it's also actually showing prospects. So prospects have a blue pin, and that's where I am in Romsey, and customers have a red pin. And this is then taken forward into the activities function. So we have sort of pins. So a rep can have a look at what appointments he's got planned that day, whatever customers are in the area, etc. So clicking into the customer dashboard then takes us into the sort of the reports and that type of functionality. So I can open this up and see the detail. So in the reports, we now have the ability to filter what you're looking at. So some customers have a year or 2 years or many years order history, But this filtering function allows the user, so it's user specific, to very much filter for specific information according to what they want to access. And this isn't only possible on the sort of transactions, but also in some of the actual sales intelligence reports. So like top 10 products units, again, I have a filter turned on here so I can determine a specific date range. Also, these reports, you can basically come up here, maybe interface them to another application. So you might want to drop the information into Excel or email it or do anything else which might be relevant to what's going on. So if I close that down and come back into my customer list and back to my main screen. So also, it's we've now made it really easy for the salesperson to get back to the customer dashboard. So from anywhere in the app, they can just click on the menu, click on the customer name, and then they go straight into the dashboard, which means they can access this when they're in an order, when they're doing activities, when they're processing a credit, taking photos. At any point, they can just dive in here and look at this information, which is potentially going to help them in relation to the activity which they're processing at this time. So if I close that down, so I'm now going to take an order. So I can either take an order by going to the menu, or alternatively, as I showed earlier, I can just click on here and then choose to take an order. So I'm actually going to do it for this account here. I've got a number of transactions which I can choose to do. So the most common one is going to be a sales order. So it says, do you want to start a new sales order? And now it takes me into the order header. Again, this screen is much cleaner and clearer and really just presents sort of a very sort of straightforward information for the user. So, and also they have a configurable summary screen, which I'll show you when I've got some transactions in here. So going into the catalog, where are we? So we're going to the catalog. Pardon me, I wasn't expecting that view. So if we go into vertical scrolling, yeah, so within the catalog, there's now by default is a vertical scrolling catalog, more in line with a website, which people are sort of using on a daily basis. So the user can actually scroll through the catalog. Although if some people still prefer to horizontal scroll, that option is still available via the action menu. In addition to the core scrolling catalog, the user can also choose to enable vertical details, in which case they might go and look for, maybe have a look at some eyewear. So then they can basically have both the catalog view and also the order line details view open at the same time. Okay, so if I add some lines onto my order, so I can add on in this way, I'll go back into my horizontal scrolling. So building up an order, as might be expected. So another really important bit of functionality which people have been asking for a long time is the ability to process multiple orders simultaneously. So having started an order, the customer might want to do another order for another store, or someone else might phone up and want to process a quick order, and the rep doesn't want to close this one down. So the rep can simply go back into the customer. They can choose to start a second order. So now I can see, if you see in the top left, I've now got both order 1 and order 2 open. So order 1 has the items which I've been building up, and order 2 is completely independent. It keeps the same catalog filters enabled. So if I go into here and maybe go and look for, should I go? So I can basically go into this and it's the same catalog, but the orders themselves are completely different. So order 1 now has the 2 teddy bears I've just added in the order, and order 2 just has those items. So one of the things that the new upgrade to PixSell 3 allows us is really to have multiple things going on at the same time. With the older version of PixSell, that simply wasn't possible, but now we've separated everything so that it's far easier to go from one screen to another, to have multiple tasks open at the same time. And hopefully that's really going to allow salespeople and and exhibitions to maximise how PixSell can be used and access the right information at the right point. So back into the catalogue. So there's a variety of some other functions in here. So there's the ability now to do multiple filter select. So what you'll be familiar with is the ability to say, click on one category and provide a filter. So what I can do now, I can actually apply multiple filters within the same view. So in this case, I've got eyewear, watches and kitchenware, but it might be that I'm going to choose eyewear. Now I want to look at, maybe these two brands within there. So that's something which I know has been frustrating people for a long time, but it's going to allow people to really present in a lot more sort of slick and straightforward way. Also, the search functionality, we now have the ability to do wildcard searches, which mean you can put in multiple text in there, and as opposed to the old version where it needed to actually be sequential. So it might be like the red frame, and it would find red frames. But whereas now it will find anything that contains red and frames as any part of that product, not just actually going in sequential order. Okay. Something else which we really think is going to help people a lot is some added functionality in relation to the user creating their own collections. So if I come down here, so I've cleared my tags, so I'm now going to actually tag some items. So hopefully you're all familiar with creating a tag list. So this is really so a salesperson can create his own specific presentation, which he can then go through with a customer. So if I now look at this, I've now created this tag list, which I could present to the customer. Always the problem was when you created a new tag list, basically the previous one was lost, and there was basically no way of actually doing that other than asking head office to create your own collection. So in PixSell 3, the user can now go into his tag collections. He can now save the current tags. I'm going to call this Aspin webinar. So I can now clear these tags. But now if I go back into my collections and look at my tag collections, I can now easily go back in and I can now bring back those products at any time. So this is very much specific to each device, so that these aren't shared across all your users. But I know I'm talking to many PixSell users at exhibitions and workshops and training sessions. The ability to create their own focused presentations and potentially have multiple ones of them saved is going to be a real win for many of our PixSell users. Some other functionality, we can also click on a product and we can actually share a product image directly from the app. So I could share that via email, would probably be the typical thing. I won't do that at this point, but that's something a user can do to actually now send this image out to a customer. Okay, so the list view is pretty similar. So the list view now has all the product information there. And from here, they can dive off and go and look at their product dashboard to see the product sales that have actually taken place for that product. So the list view and the catalog view are basically now the same thing, as opposed to they were two different functions, which means that they work a lot more clearly and in a straightforward way together. So in this case, I've got my two orders built up. So I can see if we go into this and have a look at my current order, I've got these 8 items in order 1, and in this case, the same items in order 2, but I could. So what I'm now going to do, I'm going to my basket, and I'm now going to finish the first order. It says I want an order type, so I'm going to call it an order, put a reference of products. I'm going to finish that first order. If we've got promotions enabled, these then pick up if you've got any buy gets or bog offs. So I'll clear that, ask about carriage. Whoops. I can enter a signature. Complete the order. I can now complete the second one as well. I'll call this one a quote. Apologies for that. I think I just lost connection. Hopefully we're back on and I didn't lose anybody. So where was it? Yeah, so we're in the out tray. The orders are now ready to be sent. Where are we? Yeah, so I'll just, in this case, I'll now close my activity. So now I can sync these orders back to the data bridge so they can be imported into the ERP. Right, so I'm just going to flip back to my presentation. So that was just a quick overview of the actual app. So if I just flip back here, back into this, there we go. So hopefully everyone is still with me. So I went through various features there. I did Google the word demoed, and it is a word. It doesn't look right, but believe me, Google says it is. So what I went through just now, so we looked at building multiple orders simultaneously, user-maintained product collections and presentations, which basically allows a user to create many collections. They could even be customer specific, so they can remember them next time they go and see a customer. Or if they've got a particular focus for a week, they can basically create a number of presentations to show customers. We looked at the enhanced catalog filtering and searching, ability to share product images, photo capture. So photo capture was something which is a lot more slick in the new app, and something which we hope is going to be a feature picked up by many customers. We've updated the way the charting and reporting is done, providing a better interface for how your salespeople can access sales intelligence reports. We've got extended map functionality, which includes both prospects and also maps in relation to activities and calls that the reps have scheduled and completed, and vertical scrolling in the catalogue. There's also a number of features which I can't demo, but I'll just run through those too. So as I said at the beginning, PixSell will work on both an iPad and iPhone with the same license, which means that your user can sort of access customer details and history on their phone, and then use the iPad to actually process a transaction and look at the reporting and more detailed information. There's also an iCal data feed, and what that means in normal English is that effectively we can share your PixSell calendars into Outlook and Gmail. So a sales manager can basically have maybe 10 or 20 salespeople's calendars synced with his desktop calendar, so he can see what they've got planned to do, what they have been doing, etc. We can now receive background data updates, which means that stock updates can basically be coming through to the app on a sort of a regular basis without the user needing to do a sync. The ability to calculate margin by line and by order. So for some sectors, not all, it's sort of very interesting to see what margin is being made and how much sort of leeway they have on a line basis and also an order basis. A function which has been requested many times by users is the ability to do a full sync while still having held orders in the out tray. So hopefully there'll be some whoops from the reps and agents out there, because I know that has frustrated people in the past. And then the split view multitasking, meaning that when you have PixSell open, say on an iPad, you can have another app open side by side. So that's what I said Zoom wouldn't allow me to do. Basically it crashes Zoom. So I've got just a screenshot here. So you can see I've got on the right hand side my browser, and then I've got PixSell open at the same time. And PixSell could be the size of the browser. It could be take up half the screen, or it can take up the full screen. And that's a really great feature. So if a customer has emailed a salesperson an order, they can literally have the app and the email open at the same time, and then just add the details into a PixSell order in a nice streamlined way, or potentially multiple orders if they've got multiple orders open. So in addition to these features, we've got a roadmap of features we're working on. So first of all is an overhaul of the activities module, really to add some more CRM functionality in there, more integration with other systems. So that's something which we've got an initial sort of update coming in the new year, but then a bigger sort of overhaul likely towards the end of Q1. And the next thing is integration with SKU Cloud. So what that means is a rep can basically tick a box in the order header and request that SKU Cloud then generates a zip file of images which can be emailed to the customer. They don't actually receive the zip file in their inbox, they just receive the link to actually click on and then download the zip file when they're ready. And then also the ability to create a PDF catalog in SKU Cloud from a PixSell collection. So the salesperson might create a presentation of maybe 20 new products, save it as a collection, and then he can request that SKU Cloud then generates that as a PDF micro catalog, which can be emailed to the customer. And that catalog can either use our standard SKU Cloud templates, or they might be specific templates which you've sort of developed for specific purposes. So I think both of those are really going to help a lot of our customers, and the SKU Cloud integration is really exciting and really continues our merging of our products together. So if you're interested in upgrading, we've got a lot of people up sort of contacting us about this now, but we really just want to help everyone get there. So either contact the service desk or your account manager. So for some of you, that would be me. For others, it might be a number of other people. So get in contact. We've got a picture of the lovely Alistair there, who, so if you give him a call, he can begin the process. And then one of the PixSell upgrade team will basically get you booked in and take you through the process, the upgrade process to get you onto the new app. So some immediate questions people often have when we talk about PixSell 3. So firstly, there's no data integration changes. So all the ERP integration that we've maybe worked with you on recently or many years ago, that is all valid. Obviously, it means there's no new information, but to just get onto PixSell 3 with the same data, it just works straight out the box. Secondly, we're now pleased that all modules and parameters are supported. So at the beginning of the year, when we first released PixSell 3, it was really just the core order taking functionality. But now we've added all the sort of secondary modules into the mix, such as display planning, forms, questionnaires, stock counts, etc. And then the last thing is minimal user training is required. So it is a different app, and there are changes, but we've very much kept in mind that you don't want to retrain your entire team when you move them across. So it works in very much the same way. We've helped customers with sort of, I guess, feature lists, so that your users can take advantage of the new features as well, because obviously we don't want them to just move from one to the other. We also want them to have be able to use all the new functionality which we've put in place. Okay, so I will come out of this now. I'll stop my presentation, so you now get to see me again. It's now the question and answer. So we've got 5 questions in at the moment. So let me just have a look down here at those questions. Okay, so question 1. Let me have a look down here. So question 1, is the switch to PixSell 3 something that can be tested before launch? So yes. So as part of the PixSell 3 upgrade process, we allocate you with a couple of new licenses. So a PixSell 3 license is different to your current licenses, and that's something we very much put in place so your users can't just upgrade without your first having validated the upgrade. So we'd upgrade a couple of your licenses and then work with your in-house team, so your admin or your IT person or your sales office manager, really to actually go through how the new app operates, potentially give it to a single user so they can actually do some field testing, and then we'd help you actually roll it out to the sales team. Okay, so a second question is the background data update something that could prevent issues with images? Yes. So images are also downloaded in the background. Something I did have in the presentation, but sort of wanted to cut it down time-wise, was the fact that when you do a sync now, basically you download the information, then PixSell is back operational again, and the actual unpacking of the data happens in the background, and as well requesting product images. So as long as there is an internet connection available, the app will try and get additional data if it's available, or additional images or presentation, etc. So the next question is, how much will it cost us? So for all customers, we're offering a free upgrade package, or inclusive in your existing subscription. For some of the more complex implementations, there will potentially be some charge, but everyone will have like a free upgrade package. But there might be some additional costs on top of that, but I think that will only be for some of the more complex implementations with multiple languages and some more quirky setups. But for alternatively, if you're also looking to enable other functionality at the same time. So another question: can a company run PixSell 1/2 and 3 at the same time? Yes, that's fine. So we've got, so that might be just during UAT. So this is for Tina over in Toronto. So it might be during UAT, you want to be running PixSell 2 and 3, or it might be you just want to roll it out to specific teams or territories at a time, and that's fine. And that's something, you know, the admin people at head office in control of, and they can really determine when they're going to allocate the upgrade to specific users. Next, you know, with the SKU Cloud integration, will the custom catalogs be able to be built and sent to customers for the whole catalog where restricted listings are already displayed? That's from Stephen at Bonds. I'm not exactly sure what you mean there, Stephen, so I'll pick that up with you afterwards. But really, it will basically create a catalogue of whatever you've requested to be sent to that customer. So if you're in an order and you have an order type which restricts the catalogue by that user, you will only be able to put those products in and present and send that presentation to the customers. It probably needs a bit more discussion, that one. Another one, can we customize our company logo and colors? Yes, so that's via the presentation manager. So the App Store demo is the sort of the default, but all, you know, the vast majority of our customers have, you know, highly branded apps, you know, with logos, colors, presentations, PDFs, videos. So there's a lot of other stuff in PixSell 3 that I didn't have a chance to cover, but maybe we'll do like an advanced session in the new year. I think that is all the questions. Greg, can you see any questions which I haven't answered? Can you see the questions?
Yeah, there's a couple more, I think, at the top. So are customer pictures stored on SKU? Yes, they are. So when you take the picture, that gets synchronized back and then is available via SKU Cloud. And also we have a new report that allows you to pull out all of the pictures that you've got available, so you can identify gaps or see when they were taken if you want to update them. So that's something else that is available on SKU Cloud. Question for you, Nathan. Licenses, just to clarify, 1 license per user for both iPad and iPhone, question mark? Yes,
that's correct. But we did have a question recently that someone said, could one of the reps' licenses be at head office and the other on the row? No, that they've got to basically be with the same person. But you know, if say Greg was a PixSell user and he had an iPad and an iPhone that he uses together at the same time and out on the road, yes, that would be a single license. However, if Greg and his wife were, you know, 2 agents, and his wife couldn't use the iPhone version and him the iPad version at the same time, that would sort of contravene the licensing. But from your existing users, yes, they can have the app running on both, or they might use the iPhone in an exhibition environment or in your showroom, and the iPad maybe when they're doing more presentations and that type of thing.
Okay. And there's a couple more questions, although we are running out of time, so I'll just pick another couple. Just to clarify, does the upgrade request a refresh of our interface with our EIP? I think the question there is, do I need to make changes on the back end to support this? And the answer is no. I think we said a couple of times it should just continue to work, so you can upgrade your users and carry on as normal. Does the new version require newer hardware to benefit from multi-order and the other features? It just requires iOS 13, which isn't the latest actually. That they've just released iOS 14, but as long as the device supports iOS 13, then it can support PixSell 3.
So in relation to Tina's question, can you dual run? So some of your users, their hardware might not be compatible, so therefore they might continue with PixSell 2, while those that have newer iPads, and when we say newer, we mean maybe bought in the last 4 or 5 years. So that's some of the reasons why you might have a dual scenario of both PixSell 2 and 3 at the same time. Just because now might not be the best time to buy new iPads, but you could therefore upgrade those that have newer devices and leave the others on the old app. And a question from Azaria at Kenro. She said, will we need to redo the design for the presentation screen, or will the current one be transferable? So yes, the current one is transferable. What that will mean is that you have the menu on all the time. So the menu which I was dropping down by the sort of hamburger menu, basically that would be constantly on, because your current design would then have a sort of a white space down the sort of the left-hand corner. So the way we get around that is just to have the menu on. So therefore you can keep the current presentation, and then at a time that works for you, you can then go to full screen and take advantage of that type of feature. So we're about, we've got another one here. John Hollywood, so does iCal work both ways? So no, iCal is a feed. Greg, you're probably better suited to answer that, the iCal integration.
Yeah, it just publishes the events that you've got. So it's just one way, and then your client, your calendaring client, will just subscribe to that list and refresh itself every period, 5 minutes, half hour, with any updates. But it's only a one-way process. So yeah, we're at a 10-minute overrun now, so I think I'll probably call it a day at this point. There's some other questions on there, so we'll basically download all those questions and answer them en masse and share those with everyone that registered and attended the webinar, and also share with you a video link, so you can watch this. They'll be able to. So before I finish, so we plan to do a Intercell webinar in mid-January. So that's going to be, the topic is going to be user adoption. So really how you get your customers using your B2B, and really what we've sort of assessed and determined working with lots of B2B businesses, what tactics and functionality, what really gets your users interested. I'll also be running another PixSell 3 upgrade webinar, basically the same as this, and that's likely to be probably towards the end of January. But we might have new functionality by that time. We've got a big roadmap of exciting stuff, so we look forward to sharing that with everybody. So thank you for the attendees. I've done quite a few webinars this summer, and this has had the most attendees, so that's great to see the interest in the PixSell upgrade. And we look forward to working with you all and getting you using the new app and getting feedback, and continuing to take you forward and take the best possible orders. So thank you very much, everyone. Wish you all a great Christmas if I don't speak to you, and hope to see you all in the flesh, so to speak, during 2021. So thank you very much, and happy Christmas.